Rigel Systems presents Video Telescope Collimation using an Aline collimating eyepiece, an iPhone, and an iPad. First, the backstory. There are several systems offering live video collimation. By the way, we make the most useful and affordable one, the Wi-Fi Aline, which will superimpose collimation guide rings onto the live image of the optics, but some can be a bit expensive and each has its pros and cons. So I set off to investigate how to make a dynamic, affordable alternative for live video collimation using just an iPhone or Android phone. What follows demonstrates that it is eminently doable and affordable to achieve these three foundational collimation requirements. 1. Live video of the optical components to be collimated. 2. Displaying the live video on a larger screen. 3. Ability to superimpose collimation guide rings on the live image. So here we go. Let's start on the first foundational requirement, live video of the optics to be collimated. What's needed for that are three things. 1. Rigel Systems Aline collimation eyepiece. 2. Your cell phone. 3. A holder to attach your cell phone to the telescope focuser. For this demonstration, I'm using a 4.5-inch aperture f4 newtonian, as short focal length scopes have very tight requirements on collimation. I also start with a well-lit white screen to fill the aperture. The next step is to add a white background across from the focuser. A piece of paper works just great because it makes the secondary easier to see and align. Insert your Aline collimation eyepiece into the focuser and rack it all the way in. Then attach your cell phone using the cell phone holder to the focuser. After the camera is looking through the A-line, you need to move the camera lens around the A-line peephole until vignetting is minimized to make sure that the camera is centered in the A-line peephole. I posted a short video of this on YouTube. Here's 3 stills from the video that show how minimizing vignetting centers the camera lens in the A-line peephole and on the optical axis of the telescope. With the iPhone camera lens aligned and centered in the A-line peephole, the live video image from the iPhone looking straight down the optics is a lot easier to see than peeping through the A-line by eye. The live video image can be zoomed in to fill the iPhone screen and focus and brightness adjusted to produce a quite nice live video image of the focuser draw tube, secondary, and primary. On a short scope like this one, it's possible to view the live image on the iPhone while adjusting the secondary and primary collimation screws. But the live video image is small, collimation guide rings are lacking, and on a larger, longer telescope it would be impossible to view while at the same time adjusting primary collimation screws. Which brings us to the second foundational collimation requirement, displaying the live video on a larger screen. What would be ideal is if the iPhone video image could be broadcast real-time to another device with a larger screen. An iPad, for example. Apple doesn't natively support AirPlay from an iPhone to an iPad. That sent me on the search for an Apple app that supports broadcast capability, and I found one that also enables remote control of the iPhone camera and, as a bonus, adding a collimation ring overlay over the live image. And best of all, it works like a charm. I give it a solid 5 thumbs up, so now my video collimation test bed becomes Aline plus cell phone holder plus iPhone plus iPad. Using the zoom capability on both the iPhone and the iPad, the live video image of the optical components can be expanded to fill the iPad screen, providing a nice, big, flat image. Now you can collimate with video as you would visually by 1. Adjust the tilt of the secondary mirror so the primary mirror's reflection is centered in the secondary mirror. Focuser, secondary mirror, and primary mirror reflections should all be concentric. Adjust the tilt of the primary mirror until the primary mirror center marker coincides with the black dot pupil reflection from the A-line. Note the concept of concentricity from the previous slide. So how does one judge by eye that the focuser, secondary, and primary are all concentric without a guide to concentricity? That brings us to the third foundational collimation requirement, the ability to superimpose concentric collimation guide rings on the live image. That requires making a PNG image of collimation rings that the app can import and overlay on the live image of the telescope mirrors. Here's how I did it. 1. First capture an image from the camera and send it to your computer. 2. Open PowerPoint and import the image into a blank slide. You can crop off any excess black parts and scale it to fit the slide. 3. Use PowerPoint to draw circles of different colors, matching the focus tube, secondary, and primary diameters. 4. Select and copy the rings and crosshair by themselves into another PowerPoint slide and set their weight to 1, sharp but visible. 5. In PowerPoint, align all 3 rings, both center and middle, and group. 6. Copy the rings, open Photoshop or equivalent, and use File, New, Image from Clipboard to view the rings. Note there is no background. 7. Resize the ring image to 5 by 5 inches and save as a PNG. 8. Email the PNG to your iPad and store it in the files. That's where the app will look for it, and then you can import as a grid overlay. Here's what it looks like on an iPad after a few adjustments made in this order. 1. First focusing the draw tube in to sharpness. 2. Zooming on the image and moving the iPhone around to align the draw tube end with the gold ring. 3. Lastly, refocusing on the primary mirror center. It's clear both the secondary and primary need adjustment. Remote camera provides additional helpful overlay functions as shown on the right. For example, the ability to move the overlay, shift it around up, down, left, right to better align it with the optical elements in the image. Another is to pin the overlay to the image to zoom them together so you can zoom in real close to better assess the alignment of the optical elements. All in all, this is a solid proof of the concept meeting the 3 foundational collimation requirements. 1. Live video of the optical components to be collimated. 2. Displaying the live video on a larger screen. And 3. Ability to superimpose collimation guide rings on the live image. Now anything else? Oh yeah, I know you're wondering about laser collimators. We do love us some laser collimators. Clamp your iPhone where it can peep into the telescope tube and see the bottom of the focuser draw tube. Insert your laser and turn it on. Here's an example using my trusty 25-year-old Tom No laser collimator. Note the laser return isn't hitting the center of the laser port, but that's because I tilted the laser collimator in the focuser so the return would show up separate from the laser exit port for illustrative purposes. Now we reach the end of the talk, the conclusion. Does this concept of using iPhone for video collimation work? Yes, and it meets all 3 foundational collimation requirements, and best of all, it's affordable. 1. Live video of the optical components to be collimated. 2. Displaying the live video on a larger screen. 3. Ability to superimpose collimation guide rings on the live image, plus the ability to see a laser collimator return. And carrying an iPad to the back end of a large, long Newtonian telescope while adjusting the primary collimation screws is a whole lot easier than having to run back to look into the collimation eyepiece after every turn of a collimation screw.